You know what your problem is? You're never ever in the moment. You're never ever present.
You know what your problem is? You live in a fantasy land.
Okay, you know what your problem is? You're mentally inflexible.
Oh, for crying out. You know what your problem is, huh? You're so goddamn bored you gotta invent things to bitch about.
No, thank you. You know what your problem is, baby?
No, I don't.
You know what your problem is, Pussycat?
Do you know what your problem is? Contempt prior to investigation.
You know what your problem is?
Oh, this ought to be beautiful. What's my problem, buddy?
Do you know what your problem is? You know why you haven't made any sales?
You know what your problem is? Your standards are too high.
I went out with you.
You know what your problem is?
You know what your problem is, Hyde? I'm too good looking.
Don't tell a joke. It's a giveaway. Don't tell a joke. You know what the problem is, bro? You are too uptight, man. Why don't you, like, loosen up? Take a deep breath.
Hey, Huck. You know what your problem is? You.
I'm taking my...
You know what your problem is? You're too damn good looking, man.
You know what your problem is?
What's my problem?
Just let's go.
Your problem is, mister? You got the Zackley disease. What's that? You know what your problem is? Your face.
You know what your problem is, Quentin? You keep expecting people to not be themselves.
Oh, come on.
What?
That's good, right? No, it was in and it freaked out.
You know what your problem is, Hitch? You're all about the short game.
You know what your problem is? You care too much. You gotta cut out the conversation, right? And just say something to piss him off.
Well, I would love to do that with you, Bobby, but I promised Ron I wouldn't screw around today.
No,
so...
you know what? That's what your problem is.
Now, Craig, you know what your problem is. You have no game.
You know what your problem is? You're all brains, not enough cock and balls.
You know what your problem is? You're putting the pussy on a pedestal.
That's the second time I've heard that. What is the pussy on a pedestal thing?
You want to know what your problem is? MTV, Playboy, and Madison fucking Avenue.
Oh, gee, Dad, that's romantic.
You know what your problem is? You're waiting for some feeling.
You know what your problem is? You just gotta stop. You gotta stop thinking so much.
You know what your problem is? Your balance is off.
You know what your problem is.
What's that?
No, you know what your problem is, baby boy? You again. What's the fucking problem now?
I think you know what the problem is. I think you got a problem. You know what your problem is? Too much courage.
Do you know what your problem is?
Gee, tell me.
You know what your problem is?
I only have one.
You've met too many people like you.
You know what your problem is? You can't even accept something great even when it's staring you in the face.
You know what your problem is, Derek? You can't say what if.
You know, I could have got you ripped, man. You know what your problem is? Skinny-ass quads. You got no quads, man.
You know what your problem is? You take yourself way too seriously.
I do not.
You know what your problem is? It's like you're afraid to move forward. I mean, listen, we are so out of here.
You know what your problem is? What? You're too good a friend.
That's part of your problem, you know. You haven't seen enough movies. All of life's riddles are answered in the movies.
You know what the real problem here is? That the media is completely complicit in this sort of thing. I absolutely agree. I mean, it's like, Postman said, in entertaining ourselves, that's news has become entertainment. And when that happens...